It seems like our good brother Rodnan is having a bad day. Let's just keep Rodnan in our thoughts. We want to see everybody here as positive as they can be. Sorry for whatever it is that you're going through, my brother. I know that you're ill, but hang in there. Hang in there. We'll be hanging in there with you, sir. I promise you that. Anyhow, folks, how is everybody doing today? Everybody, I trust, doing fine. Let's go ahead and get started. It seems like it turns out, well, let me salute everybody first. Bridge MCP is in the house as well as E2247. Thank you guys for being here. We also have going down Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain. We also have Yvette Avery Herod from Atlanta, our one and only unions. I like to call her the union specialist. We also have Michael Rudnan in the house, who's under the weather, going through a few things right now. Michael, our thoughts are with you, brother. Our thoughts are with you. Let's see what else we got here. I saw some others in here that I missed, but anyhow, let's go ahead. Tom C is in the house. He says, Michael Rudnan, hope you have a better day tomorrow. Best to you and your mom. Absolutely. So Paul Fleming from Atlanta is also in the house. Tom C from Michigan. Thank you all from here. Some of you I'm seeing the second time from this midday show at Politics Done Right at KPFT. I have the most wonderful people on air and off air. At mid-show, I have to raise $500 per day. Whenever whenever we have fund drives at KPFT, that is my quota that I've got to pull in. Now that it's a community radio station. We depend on people. And I had zero, a big moonshot, up until more than half the show. And when we made the plea and told them, hey, we needed to get it in by today, get my quota in, we made it. Because of all our listeners on air. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Of course, we have a few of the listeners in here as well, like Bridge MCP and Alistair Waters and a few others, I think Lee Grant, that are already members of KPFT, which means they can vote at KPFT. That is our on-air station. So I think, like I said, couldn't do this without you. Of course, you have to support the private Politics Done Right show as well, the one that's here on the internet, which is actually the bigger show. We actually have more views from the Politics Done Right on the internet than the one on KPFT. Imagine that. Hey, Lee Grant, how you doing, brother? Maywood, how you doing? Okay, I have the interview that I did with a conservative at KPFT. I want to play that. And then after that, we'll go into more detail in the show. I think I saluted everybody already. So take a listen to this if I can find it. Where is it? Oh, it's inside of the interviews area. Okay, let's go ahead and play this, and then we'll take it on the other side. Of course, you can remain chatting if you want to do what you need to do, but here we go. Honored to be in the house today with Brian L. Carr. After sitting down here speaking to this special person, I figured out that even though we are at different ends of the spectrum, it's amazing that we support what's important. Brian, how you doing today, my brother?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Well, look, let me tell you, when we got honored to be in the house today with Brian L. Carr. After sitting down here speaking to this special person, I figured out that even though we are at different ends of the spectrum, it's amazing that we support what's important. Brian, how you doing today, my brother?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Well, look, let me tell you, when we got turned on to your organization, you're actually the Chief Advancement Officer of, and let me get it right. I tell you what, you tell us the name of your organization.
I am blessed to work with Northwest Assistance Ministries.
And you guys do great work.
We do. Thank you.
And everything that I know about the person that turned me on to you was Teresa Allen. And everything that I know about you told me you know what? This is what I'm looking for. And I knew nothing about, and again, this, I know what you're doing in your work has nothing to do with politics. But as I usually do, try to pull the politics out of folk. And realizing what your politics was on the conservative side and seeing what you do and listening to what you believe, I said to myself, today's show has just changed. Because if more of us start to realize that, and it's always a cliche to say we have more in common than we have apart. That's a cliche. But your presence in this studio and what you do, and something special that you said to me, you said, when people come to get service from us, we don't ask if you're Republican or Democrat. We don't ask if you're right-wing Republican like I was hitting up today. I saw you cringe when I said that. Don't worry. That is just who we are. We say things and so I saw you cringe and I said, I'm not changing these words because I want my brother here on the left to cringe when I say this, because there are certain things he's going to tell me that I'm going to cringe as well. But you know what? I just love the guy because of what he's doing in society.
Well, it's all about the love.
Yeah. I think I interviewed you once before, I think over Zoom. And I think then, I could see the passion that you had for what you're doing. But actually meeting you in person and us just shooting the bull, if you will. And I'm like, you know what? This guy's real. This guy's real. This is what we need to be talking about and being able to bring that to the fold.
Well, you talk about us hitting it off.
Yeah.
You can't get more conservative than me.
I know that. That's my point.
And you're admittedly,
I'm a lefty.
You're a lefty.
Yeah.
But we're here for the people.
Right.
It's about the people. It's about, every day somebody's coming in the door of NAM or somebody's coming in the door of other organizations like ours, and they need help. Us calling each other names, us fighting it out on the Capitol steps isn't feeding one person.
Right.
It's not saving one family from domestic violence. It's not helping someone advance their career. We can love each other. We can talk to each other. We can hang out with each other. Okay, we disagree about some things. Mm-hmm. We can argue the whole tax thing till we're blue in the face. Mm-hmm. Has that fed anybody yet?
No, it has not.
Let's feed some people.
Right. Let me tell you. Let me tell you something when you say that. Right. Because today we're talking about these particular subjects, NAM, etc., the Northwest Assistance Ministries, etc. But I'm gonna tell you something. See how you just talk about you being conservative and me being a lefty? You and I gonna be doing some other shows where we're gonna really discuss those issues, where we're gonna go back and forth with that. So folks, you guys better be ready for when Brother Carr and I get down into conservatism and progressiveness, because we're gonna have some good, healthy discussion. So get ready for that, because I tell you, I love the way he came here, and he likes who he is. I like who I am, and we're gonna talk. I tell you what, Brian, let me go ahead and do the part of the show that I wrote up here, and it has to do with Mattress Max and Lena Hidalgo, two people that you know and two people that you are actually friendly with.
I am friends with both of them. They're both great people.
They're great,
and they're
people.
Great for this city, and they're great for this community.
Right. So they shouldn't. This is what I wrote. I said, Mattress Mac should have stayed in his lane. You don't have to agree with me here, brother. Mattress Mac should have stayed in his lane. He is no match for Lena Hidalgo in politics, just as she will not try to save you money on furniture today. To see what has happened with him getting into the lane about did they win? Was there any kind of voter issue, etc.? I'm sorry. In as much as my brother on my life would not want to say too much, we are mostly blue county, brother. I know. We're mostly blue county.
Tell me about it.
I know. Come on. So it's not ironic that mostly blue won in this county, right? Come on, Mr. Conservative. Come on.
Can they both be right and both be wrong on this?
Okay, you're going to try to play the middle because you love them both. Go ahead.
Well, I do love them both.
Yeah.
And
say it. This is politics, or you can say whatever you want to say.
The lawsuit is part of the democracy.
Yes.
And sharing the records is part of democracy.
Okay.
All right. I didn't actually hear him say in the lawsuit that the election was bogus.
I know he didn't.
He may have said it another time, but just dealing with the lawsuit here.
Yes.
Give him the records.
Let me tell you something, Brian. I don't have a problem with that if it were bi-directional. Let's be honest.
What records of his do you want to see?
I don't want to see any record of his.
Well, then it's going to go one way right now.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think he should be there like, what's the word? I think what Hidalgo said there is true. You don't want to go ahead and sow doubt in the electoral process. And I think there's too much doubt being sowed in the electoral process. And that creates, you remember, we talk about people fighting each other, right? That creates this is a blue county. I'm sorry. It's a blue county. Sorry, Mr. Carr. It's a blue county.
You keep reminding me of that. Like, I don't know. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're right.
Yeah.
You want to eliminate the doubt in the elections?
Yes.
If the paperwork backs it up, how much better could that be? I'm pretty sure
the paperwork's going to back it up.
I imagine it will too.
Yeah, but I just think that look, you're a high level thinker, okay, and you understand.
My mom would be proud. Thank you for saying that. Your mom
would be proud, and you process those things. Unfortunately, a lot of folks aren't going to process it that way. Agreed. And that's my issue. Okay. That is my issue. A lot of folks know, and I think Mattress Mac knows. I think Mattress Max is playing the politics here, and politics is played by everybody. But I think this particular type of politics, I agree with Hidalgo. I think this one is dangerous. Do you remember the election with Gore and Bush?
Absolutely.
Okay. When the Supreme Court ruled, and I think the Supreme Court erred in their ruling, but when they ruled, I thought Gore did that patriot. Gore thought more about, I am going to think more about my country, and I'm just going to go away. I won more votes. I think I won Florida, but I'm going away. And President Bush, J.W. Bush, is the president. That's what he said. When you start questioning elections, even as judges over and over and over tell you we don't see anything that would change the election, that is at the core, in my opinion, of our country. And I find it difficult. Actually, this is where I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, this is where we came together before the show.
Yes.
This is what, in my opinion, we need to change.
Okay.
It isn't about the elections. It is, but it isn't.
Right.
This gives both sides something to campaign on.
Right.
This gives them sound bites to get on your show, to get on the television shows, whether it's NBC or Fox News.
Right.
And they're speaking to their base.
Right.
And it's ammunition. And it gets them fired up. It gets them going. But it's all based right now in hate.
A lot of this stuff is based in hate, but I don't want to. Let me tell you why I don't want to hit certain things here, because you're here to talk about NAM, and I don't want to conflate. I don't want to get you too much into this other subject where it's going. I want to do a lot of shows with you, though.
Well, what I want to sum it up.
Yes.
Just like with NAM. If we're taking this energy that we are on fighting over elections,
right,
if we're taking this energy to call each other names,
right,
and we come together like you and I came together today to serve hungry people, to take care of families that are escaping domestic violence like we're doing at NAM, if we're serving our seniors through Meals on Wheels, if we're taking that same energy and serving other people, whether it's through NAM or someone else,
right,
we're all better for it.
But I want to take that a step further, Brian. Yeah, I took to you because you're doing this good work with NAM. But that's not completely true. I took to you because on a human level, you're a nice person. I don't know your history. I just know I take vibes based on how I communicate with people. All right. And I'll be frank. Just about every white guy I know that has ministry on his name in this area, I would make the assumption that you are a conservative. not necessarily, I'm not necessarily correct, but I'm saying it's a good assumption to make, right? And in as much as, coming in and saying that, I was like, oh, I like this guy because of, of what, and I'm saying if we can get more people to start thinking that stuff instead of running to their tribe or their corners, we can do well. So yeah, I'm glad for what you're doing. I love what you're doing. But if I only could deal with you because, well, you serving the poor or whatever, that's important. But there's much more to stuff. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. We at NAM, while we may not stand publicly on left or the right or make public. Can I tell you the gun?
Yes, please do. That's important. Actually, it's an important story, the gun story.
Okay, and this isn't to take us away from all these other topics, but there was a recent court ruling where it overturned a lower ruling where in Texas they wanted to remove guns from those individuals that had a restraining order placed against them in domestic violence cases. And obviously, some people are running hard to the right and talking about the Second Amendment. Some people are running hard to the left, and they're missing the point. Yes, those are politics. Those are issues. We can argue about that at another time. You and I would probably disagree in an argument. But there's real life families there. And so we at NAM had an opportunity to join a coalition of Harris County organizations that serve families that are dealing with domestic violence, all standing up saying we support removing the guns out of this situation. Now, I am a conservative. A lot of our donors are conservative, so there was a concern there. Before NAM gets involved in something like that, our management team discusses it. I went within our management team and I said, if we get the calls, I am comfortable handling those calls because we're not standing on removing guns. We're standing with the families that are dealing with domestic violence. And that is what I am talking about with this. Okay, Lena and Mattress Mac, you're great for your both sides. There's money coming in, all that. That's great. We can deal with the election issue when it comes in. But a lot of these politics, a lot of these issues are people issues, not political issues. And that's where I think you and I can come to a lot of agreement because at the root of all these political issues are what? People. People whose lives can and are affected. And that's why at NAM, when somebody comes in, we don't ask them, you Republican, Democrat? We don't ask them their immigration status. What we hear is that they're hungry. And I keep saying that, but that's what NAM is. Our mission statement is very simple. We strive to provide basic human needs through neighbors helping neighbors. And that neighbors helping neighbors is the best 3 words I have heard in my life. Because that's what you and I should be doing, regardless of what side we're on. Next November, when we go to election, you're going to go to one side of the room. I'll go to the other. Yeah. We'll be fine. We can joke about it later. We cancel out each other's vote. And the other 100,000 will cancel out mine several times. But okay. Yes. I'm in a blue county. I know.
Let me just say this here because Bridge MCP wants to know who is this man? Because Bridge, interestingly, Bridge lives in New York. She's one of our PDR Posse members here. I'm coming to you, Teresa. And I'm coming to you, Joe. She's one of our great folks out there in New York, but she lives in a very Republican part of New York, the state of New York. And we talk all the time, and she talks about how great her neighbors are. And they know that she's a pinko leftist liberal like yours truly. And they all get along so well. They exchange food. They talk. They help each other out because they get it. A lot of this stuff is simply cultural, but we have to get the hate portion out of it. Brian, before I give Brian a chance to tell that story, I want to tell a story from last night, and I'm going to try to be really quick with it. My wife went to her church, the Luke, last night for their monthly meeting of their Be the Bridge Project initiative. It's a monthly ongoing dialogue between a predominantly black church, the Luke, and the predominantly white church, Kingwood Christian Church in Kingwood, Texas. I live in Kingwood, Texas. I am proud of the two pastors, Pastor Timothy Sloan and Pastor Chad Mattingly. And for all my Libbies, I'm still a humanist, but I support my wife, who's a deacon at the Luke. So, but she does her thing there, and I make sure I'm on her arm when I need to be. I'm proud of the two pastors, Pastor Timothy Sloan and Pastor Chad Mattingly. Professor Dr. John J. Theis, a well-known community organizer and head of the Lone Star College Center of Civic Engagement, is the facilitator of this program, among many types of engagements activities he organizes. The church has formed an alliance to sustain substantive and intentional discussions on racial issues and unity. These great community leaders understand Dr. Martin Luther King's statement about the most segregated hour in America. An attendee from Kingwood Christian Church gave my wife a flyer and asked her to give it to me. She said she was very concerned about these types of flyers. I included the entire flyer at the end of the post. So when you guys go to the post, you'll see the flyers. Have you ever wondered why so many predominantly white people vote for a man as unintellectually, morally defective, selfish, and narcissistic as Donald Trump and many of his cohorts? And brother, I would vote for you, okay? Not Trump. All right? Our plutocracy, our oligarchy, and many of our wealthy understand that they can only continue their legalized thievery if they create maximum polarization. They turn misunderstanding and ignorance into existential differences that shut down the critical thinking of many. And if you are not thinking critically and acquiesce to the false messages they put out, then you will fail to see the culprits actually causing us harm. The flyer is a very expensive flyer to create and mass mail. As a progressive political activist, I know we cannot match the money that the wealthy plutocrats and oligarchs have. But we have a bigger weapon: community engagement, personal attributes, and more if we choose to inoculate ourselves from the hate they sell and just show where we care. If we stop just preaching to the choir and wondering why the others just won't change, then we'll really solve the problems. Your thoughts. And like I said, don't hold it against me now, Mr. Conservative, that I said that about your boy.
All right.
Yeah.
We have a lot of agreement on this.
I know we do.
Why? Why that flyer? What?
I don't. That's
what.
That's it.
What purpose of good? Good does it actually bring to the table? We talk about the politicians and their issues and who we vote for, and there's name calling and all that. And your boy Barack Obama,
right?
I would have him in my house any day because I have seen him as a father.
Yes.
I have seen him with his family.
Right.
I don't like his issues.
I know you don't like his policies. We talk about it another day.
That's another show. But I would welcome him into my home. Why aren't we doing that? That's what politics used to be. Stump speech. What was a stump speech? Because politicians would stand on tree stumps to talk to small groups of people in a community to serve the community.
Right.
We've lost that. I dare these politicians, okay? You may not ever have me back on your show after this.
No, I would.
March the 11th.
Yes.
We are having a food distribution.
Yes.
We are feeding the hungry.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot get any more basic than that. We are feeding the hungry.
Mm-hmm.
All these politicians who want to hate each other, come out and load food in the cars at NAM. March the 11th, 8 a.m. until we run out of food.
Repeat that, brother. Repeat that.
March the 11th, Northwest Assistance Ministries. We are handing out food. We are feeding the hungry. What a better photo op. I'll take the photo. Don't hate. Feed someone. Who do you who are they going to vote for? You put food in my car. Who do you think I'm going to vote for?
Exactly, brother. Let me tell you, this is a chat I have this program, and this is my chat. I have about 30 to 40% dedicated conservative listeners of my show on the internet, and they're all contributors. The conservatives are contributors as well. So, I mean, what people don't think, they don't get it. Most people, and it's not a cliche, most people want the same thing. And in saying that, also, most people want to be liked, and most people want to feel ushered into some, we can call it a gang, we can call it a tribe, we can call it whatever you want, but they want to feel home. And these charlatanes, that's what they do. They create a false home. You have to, and that is what we got to get away from. I want to be able to eventually have the day that you're not going to call me a pinko liberal, progressive socialist, and a day that I'm not going to call you, hey, conservative, right-wing nut job. All right. I want that day to come, because when we take those skins off, we're going to realize, well, you know what? No, actually, you want to go home and feed your kid just like I want to go home and feed your kid. You want your kid to be proud of you just like I want my kid to be proud of me. You want to, the things that we're going to fight about are the things that plutocrats want us to fight about. That's
right. And we can fight about those.
Yeah.
That's what made this country great. That's what makes us strong. That's, iron sharpens iron. So
it does.
That's just to help you out, that's a biblical verse.
Oh.
I'll help you out on that.
Yeah, help me out on that one, brother.
But
yeah.
By us disagreeing, there's nothing wrong with the disagreement at all. The two-party system, the three-party system, that works. That holds each other from going too far to either side. Right. If you look at no matter which party is in control, the other party just being there is there to keep from going any too far in either direction. And that's good.
Yeah.
It's also, let's face it, it's also good for business.
No kidding.
Television, radio, newspapers, without the politics, where would we be?
Yeah.
But in the end, we all are Americans. We're all living in this country, trying to do the best we can, trying to raise our kids, trying to, keep our dog in our own yard. We're all trying to do the right thing. And when it comes down to it, I don't think there's a Democrat or Republican that wants those families in Ohio to get sick from those chemicals.
No, they don't.
I don't think there's a Democrat or Republican who enjoyed all the canceled flights. Doesn't make it a political conspiracy either way.
Right.
Sometimes bad stuff happens. And Houston knows that as well as anybody.
No kidding. No.
A few years ago, we had an uninvited guest named Harvey come in and dumped rain and kept dumping rain. And the day it stopped raining, I went up to NAM and just to check out the building. Parked in the parking lot, went in, turned the lights on, checked out the building. A couple other people were with me. Within 15 minutes, there was 30 people in line at NAM for assistance. Why? Because they saw our cars in the parking lot. They didn't care if I was a Republican or a Democrat. They cared they needed service. So we weren't planning on it, but for about 4 hours, we opened the doors and we gave out food. And from that moment on, for over 2.5 years, we had a Harvey relief program.
I don't want to cut you, but you were even talking a lot about NAM, but I don't think we gave them your website or your address. So give them both of that, please.
Website is simple, namonline.org.
Is it too, spell it for them because
NAM, N-A-M, online.org.
And where are you located?
We're located at 15555 Kirkendall, and there's no R in Kirkendall.
That always gets me, yeah.
And that's at the corner of 1960 and Kirkendall Road up in the northwest part of Harris County.
Mm-hmm.
Contact our website. The phone numbers are there. If you need help, contact us. We are giving food. We're helping with rent assistance. We have this great program right now where we're training electrical apprentices in a 6 weeks program so they can go get a job with Trio Electric or other electric companies. Right. Trio helped develop the curriculum. This is a great organization. I love this organization. And people who come here get help. We had a mother who was escaping domestic violence, and she needed some food. So we helped her get some food. And as we're loading it in her car, she hugs me, and all she does is keep saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we're like, this is what we do. Mm-hmm. And within 2 weeks, she had another place to live. We were able to provide her with some furnishings. We were able to get her set up again, and she and her kids felt safe.
That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. And, that's all. Let me tell you. Thank you, sir. That's all that I want to preach. I want us to, I believe in an egalitarian society. That's what I believe in. I believe in a society that reminds us that we are a brother's keeper. It's not, some people hate when I talk about brothers keepers and all that kind of stuff, but that's what I believe. That's what I think we should be. Why the hell have a society if there's no society in society? Why?
How many of us, one bad illness, one loss of a job, a bad car repair, how many of us are that close to being in the same situation most of our clients are in? We're that close.
Absolutely. I want to say to our great folks in the room, Bridge MCP, of course, I think I shouted it out already, but we also have Eric Hayes, and Eric Hayes is one of our conservative guys, and I think he wanted to slap me across my head because what he did is he went ahead and he said, hey, iron sharpens from the Bible. So he knew I have the smartest folks here. So if I miss something.
So you've heard from 2 of the 3 conservatives in Harris County today.
But I'm going to hate to say this, but Harris County actually has about 40% conservative.
We are a great diverse community.
Yes.
And I have to say this. Every time something terrible has happened, every time a catastrophe has happened, the community expects organizations like NAM to step forward. And you know what? They stand with us.
I know, but you know what is so funny about Houston? In as much as we have the polarization around the rest of the country has, that's one thing that I notice. When we have disasters, as a city, as a county, we actually come together.
Agreed. Agreed.
That's one
example.
thing I can always say about the Houston area. It always changes. Persuasive Barrier, welcome to Politics Done, or I'm saluting you in Politics Done Right in the chat. John Smith. Actually, there are a bunch of conservatives in here. John Smith, Eric Hayes, Lee Grant, a bunch of them in here today, brother.
Hey, I don't feel so alone.
All right, man. So anyway, let's see. Who did I... Alistair Waters is in the house as well. We also have... I like to call, for all these people that keep in touch and follow us all the time, I always like to make sure to call you. Maywood is in the house as well. Troy Astro, Lee Johnson. Anyway, folks, listen, we're coming close to the end of the show. Like I said, you changed my show today because I had my rant ready for the issue that that was going on in my wife's church, the lady who got the flyer, and I also was going to expand a little bit on the Lina Hidalgo issue, but The chemistry was, when we came in, I really enjoyed the topic. And what I want to do, like I said, I work with a group called the Bridge Alliance, which we are trying to bring. And people think about it's right and left. It's more than just right and left. It's a lot of different factions. And we have these symposiums where we bring all these different factions together, and we actually get things done together in these big rooms in wherever we go. But then the idea is, how do you keep it flowing after it's all gone? And then, of course, I was in a coffee party, and we were sort of trying to do the same thing. We used to call it that we were not a bipartisan organization. We're a transpartisan organization where we try to get things going. And it, again, like I said, it doesn't mean taking away your identity or anything like that. But I'm going to shock you right now. You don't know it, brother. You come into this darn studio and I'm Mr. Conservative. And to all my listeners, I know later on today, you know what they're going to tell me? Why does Brian think he's a conservative? That's the first thing that I'm going to hear.
All right.
That's the first thing I'm going to hear. And you know why? Because they're going to say, wait a minute. He's a guy that would stand for all this, and that. And the way we label people, the way we do labeling, if you were to throw yourself on a chart, and it's going to prove something that I say all the time, your party has so much more to do with culture than who you really are.
Well, no. Conservative, liberal, first of all, let's help each other.
Absolutely.
And I think, there's the stigma that only the liberals care about other people, and that's not true.
I know it's not true. By the way, I know it's not true.
And I'm here to be that example. And it's all about, you said it, who we are. Mm-hmm. You don't have to change who we are. You don't have to deny who you voted for. You don't have to try to shame it. I work every day trying to be non-political in my job, because the first thing we do is help people. Mm-hmm. But I can't do that if that's not part of my heart. And that's what makes an organization like NAN, Northwest Assistance Ministry, so strong, is that neighbors helping neighbors. We have 3,400 volunteers and need more. If you can volunteer, go to namonline.org. We need you to volunteer. These volunteers are incredible. They work so hard to help other people they don't know. And people who look different than they do, people who act different than they do, and they believe different, but they show up because they care.
Chief Advancement Officer Brian L. Carr of Northwest Assistance Ministries. I can tell you it has been my pleasure having you on the program today. We need more of you as prototypes. So thank you so kindly for having been on Politics Done Right. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news trying. I don't know what happened there. I think I'm going to have to go clean that up on YouTube as well, because there's a little 5-second block or so that went black. Anyway, I really like Brian. Brian, pretty cool guy. And Tom C is correct, though. It is good that you can do all these great things for people, right? But what we have to do is, when Tom says, I would like to see NAM give health insurance, he can't. Our health insurance model is a failure. You can't have a for-profit system, insurance-based system. We need a national system like Carter spoke about. And you know who? Who was it that sent me that? I think it was Manning that sent it to me. Let me go ahead and look it up, because, like I tell you, I have great folks watching this program. I want you guys to see a piece here that was sent to me by Paul Fleming. Paul Fleming sent me a piece last night, I think. And I think I replied to you, Paul. Are you still in the house, Paul? Let's see if I can find it, because it was something that Carter said. And when I read it from Lee, I'm like, yep, that's it. Here it is. Here it is. Let me go ahead and cue this up. and get you guys to check it out. Okay, hold on. Let's get it right. It's Fleming who did it, who sent it. All right, let's go ahead and put that on the screen. Let me blow it up a bit before I put it on, because it is exactly pretty much what Tom is alluding to. And this is something that could have been done way back in '76. Check this out.
Governor Reagan, as a matter of fact, began his political career campaigning around this nation against Medicare. Now we have an opportunity to move toward national health insurance with an emphasis on the prevention of disease, an emphasis on outpatient care, not inpatient care, an emphasis on hospital cost containment to hold down the cost of hospital care for those who are ill, an emphasis on catastrophic health insurance, so that if a family is threatened with being wiped out economically because of a very high medical bill, then the insurance would help pay for it. These are the kind of elements of a national health insurance important to the American people. Governor Reagan, again, typically is against such a proposal.
Exactly. And Lee Grant, thank you for pointing that out to us, because I thought when I saw that from President Carter, and again, this was before my time. I was not in the United States then. And not only that, I was very, very young. So these are issues that would have been over my head. I wasn't even in college yet, right? So I think this interview occurred in 1976. I would still have been in high school. But what was great was that even back then, we talk about national health care, the need for national health care. And the President Carter highlighted everything: more outpatient care, trying to avoid diseases, making sure that you don't get wiped out from a health care issue. So all the things that we're still working on 50 years plus. Is it 50 years? 40 something years plus. 76 out of 24. That is shameful that we're still trying to get there. It has been proven now that after 40 something years, private healthcare has failed, just like we know it has to fail. A for-profit for healthcare has no incentive not to fail, because if you're trying to get a profit on health, there's no incentive to do good healthcare. And Carter got it. And many others have. Even Obama got it, but he had to acquiesce to some of the neoliberal Democrats when he passed the law. You get it. Thank you, Paul. First of all, let me just tell you, Paul, that was a learning experience for me, because I hadn't known that Carter, President Carter, that is, had the entire picture about national health care, inpatient, outpatient care, etc. down, and that it was actually an issue in the campaign. And you watch this charlatan here. I want you to see Reagan's face. It just shows you, look at the face. A face that says, I don't give a damn. Look, I'm going to try to get you just to see that little piece of Reagan. Look at how he laughs.
On the prevention.
Look at how he laughs. We're talking about a serious issue, something that hurts people. And this, not just a neoliberal, but this evil person just laughs. A lot of people going through hell. He just laughs. People have been going through hell on the healthcare issue for decades, after decades, after decades. And he just laughs. You know, he just laughs. So, Paul, like I said, thank you for that video, because I think it shows you how long we've been fighting this battle. And maybe it will help some later do that. Maybe it'll help some later do that. All right, I have another video from yesterday's talk shows that I think is also important. And this one has to do with, I'll just go ahead and play this, and you guys will see it right this minute. Por favor, lo voy a tener ahí. There you go. It seems like Pamela Brown hit a nerve on CNN today when she interviewed Mike Turner, GOP Representative Mike Turner. It's amazing because she wasn't on the attack. She was just stating a few facts as far as Ukraine is concerned. But he knew that everybody knows that there are some Republicans who want to cut funding for the Ukraine war, the Putin sycophants. Now, I don't think he is one of them, but he felt as if she was somehow attacking the GOP, which she wasn't. And in the process, he brought up a letter that several Democrats put out and retracted about trying to find peace in Ukraine. And he tried to create a false equivalence. I want you to see exactly how she handled it, because the way she did it shows what journalists should do. In other words, do not allow these guys to come on our airwaves, not their airwaves, on our airwaves, and somehow distort the truth. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Congressman Turner, to you, you're also on the Armed Services Committee. We should note, according to Politico, the top Democrat on that committee, Representative Adam Smith, said at the Munich Security Conference, quote, "There's more of a consensus that people realize that Ukraine is not going to militarily retake Crimea." I'm wondering if you agree with that assessment.
Statements like that, Pamela, are not helpful. And, we're at an international conference. You mentioned Republicans. There are 20 Democrats that sent a letter to Biden saying that we should have immediate negotiations and bring an end to this war. Putin hears
but they retracted that letter, and you would agree there's a difference.
Pamela,
you would agree there's a difference between urging peaceful resolution and withdrawing funding. But go ahead.
Pamela, you can't retract a letter from Putin hearing it. So it doesn't have any effect. When 20 members recklessly write a letter who are Democrats,
not withdrawing funding. Go ahead.
who are Democrats and write a letter to the president. By the way, Pamela, none of the conversations that we're having here are the kind that you're asking us questions of. No one here is having the debate on Democrats and Republicans.
Tell us more about the conversations.
Only when we're in this interview has people talked about Republicans and Democrats. What they've asked is there bipartisan support? In fact, I just did a panel with Director Burns indicating our full bipartisan support on the intelligence side, on the armed services side, for full support for Ukraine. You have a handful on both sides, Pamela, who have been cautious or who have said that they don't support or they want support to come to an end. That's not the over 400, there are 435 members of Congress. There are probably 400 that are for continuing this direction and this path.
All right. Well, that's good to know. And that's what we want to hear from you.
I find it ironic that this guy got perturbed for her stating just that, in fact, some people do not believe that, militarily speaking, Ukraine would be able to take Crimea. And somehow he conflated that statement as an attack on Republicans, where he needed to come back and say, well, you remember that letter that the Democrats wrote, which sort of said, we want peace, we want to stop the war, which they retracted, which I don't think they should have retracted in the first place. But again, she snuffed the false equivalence where he was going to try to malign Democrats on this particular issue. Well done. Absolutely well done. Absolutely well done. Wow, the time flew today, man. The time really flew. But, I saw we continue to have a healthy discussion in the chat. And Paul Fleming, I didn't see that you sent this one. I did this one. I actually did a stamp of this one directly as I did the show. In fact, I think I blogged this one in the morning, if I remember correctly. But you send me, a lot of you send me some great things and great ideas for the show, which I use. And not only do you send me great ideas, sometimes you teach me stuff. Sometimes I'll see, and that is what's important about crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing means 1,000 heads are always better than one head. Always remember that. So whenever you meet folks that always try to be the one in command, and know it all or whatever, beware. I always defer to the crowd, to crowdsourcing. Well, I shouldn't say always defer. Most of the times, it is okay to defer to the crowd, but you can't defer to something like a flat earth society, right? I mean, when folks used to believe, because of what they were taught, that the earth was flat, or when folks believe that race is something, all those are issues that I do it. Paul, let me tell you what I tell people. I get a ton of material from people all the time. If you see something that you just think Egberto may want to see, even if I don't see it, I don't mind. Because, every now and then, in that mass of mail, email, and chats and all of that you guys send me, something is going to stick out. Like your stuff from Carter stuck out, Paul. And when that stuck out, it was like, wow. And if you notice, I answered you that one, Paul, right after you sent it, I believe. Because, most of the time, my wife sometimes have to slap me around because most of the time I'm in front of a computer. Sometimes I'm in bed with a pad, okay? Because there's so much material out there. There's so much information out there. And, but anyway, I just want to thank you guys for all that you do as well, because, you reading all that stuff as well. It's great. All right, let's see what we got here. Eric Hayes, you're back in the chat. I don't think I saluted you before. Paul Fleming, I saluted you. Shakula hairstylist, you like my jacket that I wore yesterday. Or was it Friday? That I wore Friday. Thank you, Shakula hairstylist. Would you like to take care of my hair, Shakula hairstylist? Uh-oh, I forgot. I don't have any hair. And I cut this off because my wife, did I ever tell you guys the story? I'm going to go for my ask in a little bit, but let me tell you the story. My wife has lupus. And they put her on, and the lupus, her hair started to fall out. And then they put her on so I'm looking sweet. All right. And they put her on a jacket. And on the, hear me, jacket. You have me saying jacket. And they put her on some medicine, and her hair was falling out, not only because of the lupus, but because of the medicine. And she would cry every day. She'd go like that, and it would be a clump of hair in her head. So my brother from a friend of mine, good friend of mine, everybody's my brother, came over from Panama, and he stayed with me, and he used to cut my hair. So she was there complaining about her hair and all of that, and I said, you know what, Mario? Please, cut it all off. Mario's like, what? Because I had and he's like, I'm like, cut it all off. And he's like, really? Hey, I'm going to show her it's not about hair. I don't give a damn about hair. And he cut my hair off completely. And then we went in there, and she was like, ah! She screamed when she saw me without the hair. And she said, oh, but you look good. I'm like, well, thank you. You look good with your bald head too, babe. So that's what I was trying to say. I'm saying, it is no big deal. And for women, I know women put a lot of stuff into their hair. I'm one of those brothers who, it's not the hair that gets me. It's not a whole lot of stuff that gets me. It's a damn good conversation, good intellect that gets me. I don't care who you are. I don't care what color you are, whatever. I've always been that way. The hair and all of that was never the turn on for yours truly. Never to turn on for yours truly. Just thought I might say that out of Politics Done Right, even though that went beyond Politics Done Right. Anyway, my dear brothers and sisters, please support the show. Some of you supported the KPFT show last week. I'm asking you to support the Politics Done Right show on the internet now, if you can. Remember, I was explaining to folks that how much this really costs me, right? It costs a lot. And not only that, even going to KPFT, I calculated on air where it costs probably $150 just in gasoline, not wear and tear, time, all of that, just to do that stint to KPFT 3 times a week. And it's out of, in the case of me supporting KPFT, it's out of all of our pockets, because all of you guys that are supporters, it's out of all of your pockets. And we go to KPFT and we do the job at KPFT to promote the good word. But I'm asking you to support it here as well. So please, if you will, please support us by going to politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. Thank you, Shakula. You can also support us on Patreon. I need a lot more Patreon supporters. You can go to politicsandright.com/Patreon. Patreon is spelled Patreon. Patreon. Or if you're on YouTube, you can just go ahead and click that join button on YouTube, and you have a lot of inexpensive way to buy me a coffee a month. Or if you're not on YouTube, but you want to support on YouTube, go to politicsandright.com/YouTube. On Facebook, of course, you can go to politicsandright.com/Facebook. You know, Facebook takes subscriptions as well. politicsandright.com/Facebook. And shop at our store. Get our t-shirts, get our hats. Just like our great friend Allison and, well, just about everybody here. Did I see Norman in the house? Norman is in the house. Norman, great seeing you. I haven't seen you in a while, brother. Great seeing you. You know that's my brother. We got to eat sometimes, but he's been hiding from us. I don't know if he didn't like us anymore, you know? But anyhow, you can support us at our store by going to politicsandright.com/store. Bridge MCP, thank you for the $10 for my hair. Love it. Love you. Thank you for that super chat, folks. She just gave me a super chat. Thank you, beautiful. Also, you can support us by getting our books. Please get the books. I ask Bridge or ask anybody else. They love the books. politicsandright.com/books. politicsandright.com/books. But here's the deal. If you want to support and you missed any of these, all the support links are at this link, politicsandright.com/support. politicsandright.com/support. Please support us however you can. If you can't support us financially, please consider supporting us by sharing, telling folks about us, sharing the newsletter that we send out every day, all of that. Oh, that is so sweet, Bridge MCP. Bridge says, Linda, so sweet. Yeah, thank you, my dear, beautiful lady. But anyway, folks, I got to get out of here. It's 4:01, which means I'm overdue by about 2 minutes. So I want to say, everybody, thank you so kindly for being here. Love you all, and I got to go. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.